What's up, everyone? And today I'm bringing a deck profile on my Speedroids. Now, Speedroids is a pretty fun deck that actually recently got some support, so I figured I'd update it. And before we get into the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and yeah, let's get right into it. First, I run 3 Speedroid Terratop in all its shiny glory. Terratop is sort of like the main card for Speedroids. It's also used in many other decks just because it is a very powerful rank 3 engine. So basically, if you control no monsters, you can special summon Speedroid, and if this card is normal special summon, you can add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, except Terratop. So that's really good. If you control no monsters, you can just summon this and add another Speedroid from your deck to your hand. Now, most oftentimes, you'll probably summon or add your copy of Speedroid Terratop. Not Terratop, but Taketomboard. As like I'd say with the generic Speedroid combo is Terratop into Taketomboard, but since this is a Speedroid deck profile, you don't really you're not always going to get the Taketomboard, but Taketomboard itself is really good because if you control a wind monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So this is just a free level 6 synchro, or not really a level 6 synchro because they're not tuned, but it can be a free rank 3, free link 2, which is really good. Now, Taketomboard has an additional effect to where you contribute it to special summon one Speedroid tuner from your deck. Now, it does lock you into wind monsters, which the link also does, so that's not really much of a downside. Well, it is a downside because we can't play generic stuff, but pretty much everything in our extra deck is wind, so this doesn't really matter too much. Next, I run 3 Speedroid Marble Machine. Marble Machine is your go-to normal summon Speedroid monster. Because when it's normal summon, you can add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. So not only, let's say you got a Marble Machine and Terratop in hand, that's a pretty good opening hand because you can just special Speedroid to use this effect to grab a Speedroid monster, then you can just normal summon the Marble Machine to grab another monster. And one of those monsters that you'll be adding is the Speedroid Colonel Clackers. Now, Clackers is really interesting. You can take this monster in like several different ways. Both the so you're never really gonna summon it as a monster except maybe like Pendulum Summon. But the Pendulum effect is really good. You can target one Speedroid card in your graveyard, place one Speedroid Pendulum monsters from your deck in your Pendulum zone, and it locks into wind, which we're already pretty much gonna be locked into wind. So that's really good. This is basically a 1 card, 2 scales. So it's basically it's monkey board for Speedroids, and we already know how good monkey board ended up being, and that's really good. Now, what you will grab off of the Colonel Clackers can change depending on board. Obviously, you can go for the Marble Machine, which is a scale 1, or you can go for the Speedroid Wing Synchron, which is has a better Pendulum effect, but not really a good scale. Next, we run 2 Speedroid card Turbo. Turbo, if you control a wind monster, you can special summon it from the hand. So basically, got the same thing with Terratop, it summons itself. We also run the 1 Wing Synchron. Wing Synchron is pretty good. Both of its effects are pretty good. So you got the Venom effect. So basically, you can destroy this card and 1 level 2 wind Pendulum monster card in your Pendulum zone, which would be the Clackers. 2 special summon 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon from your extra deck. Now that's really good because I can also trigger the secondary effect. If this card is added to your extra deck face up and you control 2 or more different types of wind synchro monsters, you can send 1 Speedroid spell trap from your deck to your graveyard. Now that effect's okay because you can send your copy of Duplicate to the grave, but Duplicate's not really, I'd say, the best option. Mostly what I'm going to go for is the scale 1 because then I can get like more monsters onto the field for synchro summons. While yes, Wing Synchron is pretty good to get to that scale, or not that scale, but to Clearwing Synchro Dragon. I'd say depending on your hand and board state, Marble Machine might be the better option, but this is still a good option as well. We also run the one double yo-yo. I really like the art on double yo-yo. So double yo-yo, when it's normal summon, you can target one level 3 or lower Speedroid monster in the graveyard, special summon it. Now we have two monsters that like to be, actually we have more than two, we have 3 monsters that gain effects on normal summon. However, the Link monster, the rubber band shooter, gives us an extra normal summon. So most oftentimes you're going to want to use the normal summons on the Marble Machine or the double yo-yo. Also run the one Speedroid Red Eye Dice. This one is really good because when it's normal special summon, you can target one Speedroid monster control. You can make its level become 1 to 6, which is really good. So basically this plus any other non-tuned Speedroid gets you straight into a clear wing. Also run the one copy of Daiku Duke. Duke, when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to special summon a Speedroid tuner from your hand or grave. So this is a nice card to get into the graveyard. Also run one copy of Ultra Hound. Ultra Hound was a card I was kind of considered cutting, because as far as normal summoned effects, I like Marble Machine and the Speedroid double yo-yo much better. Because Ultra Hound, when it's normal summoned, you can send one Speedroid card from your deck to the graveyard, which is nice. But the only ones we really want to send to the graveyard are the Daiku Duke as well as the Speedroid Trap, which we already have ways to get to the grave. However, while it's in the graveyard, except the turn it's sent there, you can banish it to target a Speedroid monster in your graveyard, shuffle into the deck, and if you do, special summon one Speedroid synchro monster from your action deck with the same level but a different name. So that could be pretty useful, but it only comes up situationally, which is why I only run one Ultra Hound. Now, I remember before I used to play like double summon in this deck, but we don't really quite need that anymore because the deck's kind of just gotten consistent enough to where we don't really need it, especially with the rubber band shooter. Next, 3 copies of Wind the Wind Channeler. Wind, you basically discard this card and one other Wind to add one Wind monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So that's basically good for consistency. You can, let's say your opening hand doesn't have Clacker or Marble Machine or Terratop, and it's just not really good. This can like really help fix your hand. I do run some hand traps, such as 3 Ash and 3 Ogre to round out the main deck. Moving on to the spells, I run 3 copies of Speedroid Wheel. Wheel is really cool. Like I'm surprised a card like this exists. Basically, discard 1 card, roll a 6-sided die, then special summon monsters from your hand and or deck, 1 or 2 Speedroid monsters whose total levels equal the result. So let's say, for example, I roll a 3. I get summon from my deck a Red Eye Dice and Clackers, for example. However, their effects are negated. That's really useful. Like, let's say you roll a 6. That's going to be really helpful. Now, yes, this is a bit random, so it does have a little bit of RNG to it. But even on the low end, it can get you a free monster onto the field. Next, I play the Monster Reborn in Speed Recovery, which is not a once per turn. Basically, target Speedroid monster in the graveyard, special summon it. And during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can match this card to target Speedroid monster in the graveyard, add it to your hand. So overall, really good, considering this is not once per turn. If you have multiple, even better. Next, I run 2 copies of Speedroid Scratch. Scratch is really nice. Basically, you can send 1 Speedroid card from your hand to the graveyard to add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. So let's say you open a less than ideal hand, kind of like the same reason as you'd run Wind, to kind of like, sort of like fix your hand. That's it for the spells. And for the traps, I run the 1 Speedroid Duplicate. Duplicate, when it's in the graveyard, you can reduce the level of 1 Speedroid monster you control to special summon this card as a normal monster, level 1 tuner. So basically, this gets you another tuner onto the field if you do not have one. And I also run 3 copies of the Infinite Permanence. Moving on to the extra deck. Now first, I run 2 Rubber Band Shooter. Rubber Band Shooter is really cool. Basically, you can send 1 Speedroid monster, or you can banish 1 Wind Synchro monster from your extra deck. Then you can choose 2 Speedroid monsters, you could choose 2 Speedroid monsters whose levels equal the banished synchros monster. Your opponent randomly picks one for you to add to your hand, the other sent to the graveyard. So let's say you banish a level 7 wind. Then let's say you can reveal a double yo-yo and a car turbo. Then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon a Speedroid monster in addition to your normal summon. So not only does this get you a card to your hand, it's an additional summon. So this is definitely really good. I run 1 XYZ monster in Levier the Sea Dragon. Since Clackers does banish for cost, we will be having a monster in the graveyard for Levier. We also run a bunch of levels 3, so this is a useful card that may come up. Now for the synchros, which run a lot, I run the 1 High Speedroid Cork Shooter. Cork Shooter is really good, though it is a level 3, so making it may not necessarily be the easiest thing. But thanks to something like Red Eye Dice, it's easy to make. You can activate one of these effects. Either add a Speedroid spell trap from your deck to your hand, or fall materials that were used for the Singer summoned were Speedroid monsters, and are all in the graveyard. Spells to summon all of them. You're usually going to use that first effect, because that gives you to your Speedroid wheel as well as recovery. But the other effect is still pretty good too. Since the Red Eye Dice is on once per turn, you can just add that back. So it gives you a lot of versatility. Next, I run 1 High Speedroid Kendama. I noticed most Speedroid builds don't play Kendama, which is kind of confusing for me. Now, Kendama is not really that great. However, the really cool thing with Kendama is that you can banish a machine type monster from your graveyard to inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Going into time, Kendama is your best friend, as I think like any deck that has a way to either heal or burn damage has a very good going into time, especially if it's like an extra deck monster. So if you're going down into time, Kendama is going to be really helpful. Next, I play the High Speedroid Glider number 2, because the Glider number 1 is terrible. So if this started a synchro summon, you could target 1 level 7 or lower wind non-tuner synchro monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So this will allow you to grab back the Cork Shooter if you make it before Glider. And that's really good because that gives you another more levels to get into your higher synchros. Also run the 1 Charge Warrior, as well as 1 Adamant Reason Rap Type. It's got a quick effect to target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it, which can be really good against a lot of decks. Also run 1 Clearwing Fast Dragon and 2 Clearwing Synchro Dragon. You definitely want to run a good amount of Clearwing monsters because some of the bigger monsters require it as material. I do run 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, still a pretty good card, as well as the 1 Virtual World Shenshen. There's going to be a lot of times where you can make a level 9 synchro, and I feel like out of all the level 9 synchros, Shenshen is probably the best because it's got a macro effect. I also run 1 High Speedroid Clearwing Rider. Rider is sort of like your removal for this deck. And lastly, we run the 1 Crystal Clearwing over Synchro Dragon. I guess you're trying to make the names as complicated as possible. Now another option is the Crystal Clearwing Over Dragon, or I think it's Crystal Clear Over Dragon or something like that. Basically, it's the level 10 Crystal Wing Dragon that came out in what was it? It was when all the new Lyrlust stuff came out. It was a Legendary Duelist set, but that one's not exactly the greatest. I'd rather focus on Crystal, Shenshen, and Over Synchro. Now Over Synchro is pretty good. It does require 2 tuners or 1 tuner synchro and a Clearwing Synchro Dragon. But once per turn, when another card or its effect is activated, quick effect, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that card. So overall, most of the times you're going to want to end on the board of Shenshen, Crystal Wing, and the Over Synchro Dragon. That's it for my Speedroid deck profile. Let me know what do you think of Speedroid. I think it's a pretty cool deck. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.